Oh, perfect.
Oh shit!
No gaffes.
Oh fuck! I think
Oh, perfect.
Oh shit!
No gaffes.
Ah fuck! Fuck! I forgot to mute my shit. It's muted.
Well, I don't see Civilicious live yet. Maybe there's a delay?
Might be. Maybe we just need to refresh it now. My microphone is not on the optimal positioning, but
Sav is live.
also
Watch now.
I need to hear myself speak. So
Wait, what the fuck is this? Azeroth something? What's happening? Oh, is this? Wait, there are ads on Twitch now?
There's always been ads on Twitch.
Oh, fuck, I've never had ads on Twitch. What is this shit?
I suppose because you had some sort of ad blocker.
I still do. Civilicious put customized ads?
I did not. That's a lie. I've actually even disabled my ads. But motherfucking Jeff Bezos was just he wants that ad revenue, even when I don't.
Twitch is owned by Amazon?
Yes. Oh my god, dude. Do you?
I don't keep up with this stuff.
How many rocks do you live under? At least 5. You live underneath at least 5 rocks.
At least 3 is like the first, the second, and the third from the sun.
Yeah, you're like Plato's cavern times 10.
Oh,
like when you leave the cavern, you go into another cavern.
You
just go to a bigger cavern.
That's an accurate description of my life. I just live this cave, and I go to the other one to play board games, and then I go to another outdoor
cave,
which is play beach volleyball. Yeah,
you've never seen the. Oh my god, my microphone is kind of fucking up. I need to get all this shit going. There you go. Should be half decent now.
Oh no, Twitch changed. What happened to you, Twitch? There's some different stuff here happening. Anyway, guys, welcome to another Artistry podcast, sponsored by Civilicious. Civilicious.
Is it
Civilicious?
It's Civilicious.
Do you prefer Civilicious?
No, I prefer Sev, but I couldn't have that on the Twits, so on the Twitches, so I had to go to Sevlicious. I tried Mr. Sev, which is the other thing I go by often, but again, there's a Twitcher out there who beat me to it. Therefore, Sevlicious is my third. This is my third on the line. I like this drawing quite a lot. Like this illustration, by the way. And this is a quick jump. I feel like we're jumping all over the place. Do you want to make an introduction first before I start speaking about what I'm doing here?
Oh, well, I'll give it a try. Usually you do this, but here on Artistry Podcast, we talk about all things related to art and rant a lot. I mean, that's the main thing, really. We just rant, and sometimes we talk about art. And, well, today we did prepare some topics just to rant. And Sev does have some exciting things he wants to mess with. Which is AI art. Ooh. And I guess there was maybe some foreshadowing if you listen to all our podcasts, because he's like, "Oh, this is interesting. Should take a look at it." And yeah, I want to rant a little bit about daylight savings because that was recent. And well, I would like to know if people who watch this have an opinion on that, and if they care to share their opinion, and if they do share their opinion on that. And then, yeah, we'll talk a little bit about AA art. And also today's going to be a rather short one, because Sev has real-life commitments.
And ain't that just an absolute bitch? Don't you just hate when your real life gets in the way of your gaming and hanging out with your bros?
And streaming.
Okay, so what I was going to do, during the stream, while Jay is probably going to be talking, I'm going to be working over an AI generated image. Basically what you're seeing right now on my stream, this image was brought to you by the good AI generator called Dream Studio, I think it's called. Let me just quickly double check to see if I'm not doing any disservice. It's Dream Studio. This is really good. It's Dream Studio. It's a really good AI generator that not only can you say, for example, that you want to generate art, like say a donkey riding a unicorn, but you can also make that art via some artist's style. For example, you can say that from the previous podcast with King Jong-un, you can say that you want a donkey riding a unicorn in the style of King Jong-un. Not King Jong-un, not King Jong-un. Maybe King Jong-un. I don't know how good he was at drawing. I don't know. Maybe he was good. But on the same of
to his records, he was the best. At H3, here was the most whatever.
Yeah, he was the first real artist. Yeah, but you can make it in the style of King Jong-gi from the previous that we've talked about in a previous podcast, and it's a really interesting like AI generator, because it's so far, if you want a small resolution, and I don't mind working in a small resolution. If you look at the image that I have right now in Photoshop, if I zoom in, immediately you can start to see like it's more pixelated than anything else. But the reason why I'm doing this is I think this is like the perfect size and the perfect aid for me to help me develop a board game. Like in a board game, I like having like creature cards or whatever, and I want to have like a whole selection of creature cards, like 100+ creature cards. But that would mean that I have to make concept for 100+ creatures, and that is just way too much. It reaches just the point where you don't. It breaks the amount of work versus payoff, or I need to hire another artist to do that. However, if you use AI art, obviously I would acknowledge that all the work is basically AI art. So I'm not trying to steal anyone's credit, not even an AI computer. And then using that AI art, I can draw on top of it, giving it some like personal details, so that it becomes crisp enough to be used on my board game. However, like and because it's just 4 cards, I don't need the resolution to be gigantic. It can be relatively small. And if you use small images on Dream Studio, you can generate as many images as you want, apparently.
For free, or as opposed to paid, or what do you mean?
Yeah, exactly. Usually how AI generated websites work is you have like a certain number of credits to generate images, and after you reach that limit, you either have to wait a certain period of time, or you need to like pay for a premium or whatever. But if I keep just the scale relatively small, this website allows me to just keep on getting more and more images, and it's perfect because, as you can see right now, I kind of went for this. Hey, King of Pain, I see you on Twitch. How you doing?
Hello.
Oh, my cat's going crazy. But as you can see, I went for this kind of horror aesthetic. I've always been more of a horror boy. I liked monsters. I think monsters are great, and I also am of the opinion that AI. Now that I've actually used the AI generators, I'm not afraid of them taking my job. They're so limited in making realistic, like human proportions, making action scenes, making like weapons, or making items. Like, I want a fantastical sword, and he kind of like just fucks up the sword. Anything that is meant to be a precise shape, or a precise geometry, the AI kind of fumbles around, because what it does is it uses the law of averages to create something. But here's where AI generators are awesome. Tell them to make a monster, and it'll haunt your nightmares, because what is a monster if not just a bunch of weird shit? So I just realized the perfect use for AI really is just to create monstrosities like the one you're looking at right now. I don't even remember what the prompt was for me writing this. I think I just wrote like a Lovecraftian horror. And the style.
I was gonna say, like, maybe this is the incarnation of Lovecraft.
Oh yeah, totally. I think the first searches I did was Lovecraftian horror in the style of Cedric Pave-Rene, I think is his name, which is now I have to.
You're dropping names now with your buddies and stuff. I don't know.
Oh, he's not my buddy. I wish.
Your Kim Jong-un friend, your Kim Jong-gi friend.
Pave-Rene. I don't know how to actually pronounce his shit, but he is so good. His style was actually in Love, Death, and Robots. See if I can put this very quickly.
Oh, I don't know which one. Dude, by the way, god damn it, why did you go on that tangent?
I'm sorry.
Why is there like I still haven't finished all of them, but like there's one episode I watched again, and like, oh man, this is really good. And like, oh wait, this looks as good as the other one that I liked that was really good. And it is by the same people. And like there's like the best people of the Love, Death, and Robots. They make the best stuff, and it's all space stuff. Maybe I'm just biased for space stuff.
Yeah.
Can you do it? I wanna use some AI generating bullshit later. You gotta hook me up, bro.
I will. I'll actually probably leave the links all down below. Like Cedric Pave-Rene, he does this very, very. I just love the texture of his painting style. This is all digital, I think. I'm fairly confident this is digital. It feels like it's digital, but it has such a nice texture to it. It feels like you can see the brushes of. I can't zoom in, unfortunately, but you can really see the brushes of his artwork, and from a distance it looks absolutely stunning, and I just love his art style. So but he mostly does like portraits and character concepts. But I just like his art style, so I said I want a Lovecraftian horror in the style of Cedric Pave-Rene. I don't know, and his last name is always a mystery to me. Pave-Rene. And the machine and the AI machine come up
Reverny.
with this Lovecraftian horror. And to be honest, I like it. The AI
I think his name is Pay Revenue. That's
Pay
what it is.
Revenue.
That's it.
Cedric Pay Revenue.
Yeah.
Actually, just to go, King of Pain usually has some pretty good insights. I'm going to read what he said. The AI is only as good as the humans that program the machine's learning. Ah, that Disco Elysium. It's for the video game, Sev. Oh, that's Disco Elysium. Did he do Disco Elysium? I actually, I mean, Disco Elysium has a very, very awesome art style as well, but I don't think Cedric Pay Revenue did Disco Elysium.
Pay Revenue.
Pay Revenue.
It's official now.
I don't think he did Disco Elysium, which is also a fucking phenomenally gorgeous game. I should actually look it up. Hey Joe, how you doing? However, going back into the art that I'm doing right now, as you can see, this monstrosity, it almost works as a standalone thing. Like, you can just look at this and you feel like it's a monster. There's just a few things that I'm not quite okay with. Like, there's always elements in the drawing that kind of don't make much sense, and that it kind of annoys me. An example here is this area here that I'm highlighting, where you can see that there's a part of the monster. A part of the monster that just basically, I don't know what this shape is up here, you know? It feels like it was trying to leave the pipe or whatever. Yeah, it's the head penis of the monster, because I consider this the head. And the pipe, like, I'm probably going to try and fix this and add so that the pipe continues and connects to the monster or something. Make it like it's a imprisoned monstrosity. I might even... Another thing that I noticed is this area here. It's kind of, I have no idea what's going on back there. I see lines that just like continue on endlessly, but I assume that this is meant to be another pipe like so, and that it should connect to this pipe, and it should do something like that. So I'm probably gonna...
Sev, I think Joe was referring to something. I don't know. With YouTube,
that is irrelevant to the art stream we're doing right now. I'm sorry.
Okay.
That is like a... He's doing a No Nut November, and he's keeping me on track with a number of days that he has succeeded on his task.
So sweet, so sweet.
So that is it, and then I'm also going to probably fix this area over here, because there's this sharp angle that leads basically to nothing. That's the problem I have with AI generator, because like I said, it just does this average of shapes, right? So it quite often happens that you just see a shape going on endlessly into the distance. I'm going to see if I can give you an example.
To be fair, when I first saw this, I didn't think it was a monster. It looks like more a machine than a monster thing. The tentacle thingies, I guess, are kind of monstrosity like.
I do like the
but it doesn't look very. It doesn't look very live.
Mm-hmm. Mr. King of Pain is saying 3 pictures of this guy is directly from the Disco Elysium. Are they? Anyways, doesn't matter. In terms of, I think this has like cyber monstrosity feel to it, which I really dig. However, I'm going to show you a quick example of what I've done in the past.
Risque much?
Risque much. So this is okay. Good. I'm showing you now a spider that I
that's better.
So this was the original image here, and I can hear my cat meowing in the background. This is all going so horribly wrong. Let me just also, I want to look at the chat. And that is pretty much okay. So, looking back at the monstrosity you have right now, it looks pretty much complete until you realize, if you look at the bottom, like the bottom 2 legs kind of like do this weird shape where they endlessly trail off to the right. Mm-hmm. Which, if you're not paying attention to it, your mind just doesn't compute that imagery. But to me, I looked at it and was like, oh, what the hell is it? It's like he's snorkeling through like a straw. Like, it's almost like he's drinking a milkshake from off screen, and he's just like, ah. So I decided to give this monster a little bit of details, and what I ended up doing was, I didn't like change it all that much. I like the general layout. I like the vague feel of it, but I basically removed those long tentacles and I gave him like these weird pincers. So like these long tentacly pincers coming out of its mouth. Also, I made it very discreet. I don't know if you guys will be able to notice it that much, but I did try and put like a little bit of a skull face on the creature's like main body. And now that I highlight it, probably be easier for you to see.
Yeah, yeah.
and it just makes this like subtle little monstrosity spider-like swamp creature, and that is like the perfect example of what I would like to use in a board game. So yeah, it didn't take me much work as well. It took me like a 15-minute like sketch for me to put this from converting the AI art into something that I would use in the board game. And again, I'm not trying to, because this is also in the style of Cedric, pay revenue. I don't want to like, I don't want to make it seem like I'm claiming this is my art. I'm just using this as basically a crutch, so that I can do more art more quickly, so that I can probably make this board game. Because I'm also not intending to make the board game like commercially viable. I just want to create something cool.
Oh, how dare you! It has to be commercially viable.
I don't know about that.
Viable. Come on. There's some. I've been to Algarve this year. Come on, it was cool. That was a good place to take it and test it out. For example, I'm sure there are many cons in Porto and stuff. It's like usually more active with board games. You gotta connect with the community of board gamers there, man. Who's gonna test your game?
To be honest, there's a gaming shop nearby that I wouldn't mind to do that.
Yeah. Hook up some gamers, man. They want to test out your game. They want to play with some monsters that have been generated by AI and improved upon by human.
So, anyways, I'm going to be doing that from now on. But I heard that you want to do this this huge tangent about why daylight savings time is an abomination that should be abolished by the government.
Well, not exactly quite that. I just wanted to rant about it a little bit. But yeah, pretty much. I was thinking these thoughts, and I didn't do my research. Because what's the fun of that?
No, like, never do any research.
Yeah, don't do your research. Just say whatever you think is true, and say as if it is so. So anyway, yeah, daylight saving sucks. I don't like it, and I'm angry that people are considering that COVID is we can't go on with a directive, because I don't know if you're not aware of it. The European Union had a proposal to abolish daylight savings, and it was supposed to end in 2021. And the countries of the European Union could choose so either one of the times, either the daylight saving time or the standard time, and they were going to be like change one last time and then not change the next time. And it never went through, and then it was postponed to 2022, and then it didn't go through, and now we have a war and I guess another crisis coming. I don't know what's happening in the world. I live in my cave. But yeah, so it didn't go through, and honestly, like, I don't see the point of it. I know there was some okay, I did a little bit of research, but not properly. So there were some arguments that and why it came to be, it was to save energy and yada yada yada. But nowadays, like, we have running electricity 24 hours a day. There are lights on the streets, the shops open. We always have electricity on, and it no longer justifies the saving of electricity by having more daylight in specific hours of the day.
I think part of the reasoning was, I heard this a lot back in Portugal at least, where they were concerned about the children. The children, because it'd be horrible. It's bad for their mental development if you wake up in the night of all times to go to school and then coming back home in the nighttime or whatever. So they wanted to keep the daylight changing, because that way when they woke up it would be morning instead of nighttime. That was the only thing I've heard about.
I don't quite get that argument, because, and this is a very confusing topic, because like time changes are very confusing. But so right now we are on standard time, and so the daylight savings time, if we did not change the daylight savings time, so right now it's what, 11:20, and if we had not changed, it would be what, 12:20?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
So if the sun rising, I can check what the time sun rising is.
It's probably like around 7 p.m. or something. 7 a.m.
So yeah, it's 7 a.m. So if we had not changed the time, it would be at 8 a.m. And but 7 a.m. right now, which is like, this is a standard time. So when are children gonna wake up earlier?
Children? Mine and yours?
Huh? Yes, we're in standard time.
No, I was saying you said our children, like we're a married couple.
Oh. Did I say our children? Oh, Freudian flip right there, guys. Yeah. You heard it here first. Okay, so and I don't know, like in winter, man, I had checked like all the sunrises throughout the year. And so right now is the standard time. And if we didn't change it in the summer, I think it would be the sun would rise at like 5 a.m. instead of 6 a.m. So I don't understand that argument about children waking up in the night. They would just, unless they are waking up at 4 a.m. and I'm just completely out of sync with reality. I don't know what time kids go to school anymore. So
pretty much
so
there's some argument to be said, because some kids do wake up at around like 7 p.m. To go to school. 7 a.m. Fucking hell, man. My brain does. I'm drawing. That's my excuse.
Yeah.
It's the excuse I'm always going to use. I'm drawing, even when I'm not. The kids will always be like, some will wake up pretty gosh darn early in the day, I suppose.
Okay, but let's say, so only if we kept specifically the daylight saving time instead of the standard time, then it would be, the sun would be rising like 8 a.m. And if they have to wake up at 7, they wake up at in the night. Okay, fair enough. Regardless, let's take a look here, because I mean, daylight savings is across several different countries, and several different countries are further up in the longitude, is latitude, further up the latitude, or further down, closer to the equator, or closer to the North Pole, or at least in Europe. And there are many different countries that follow daylight savings, and they have different positions. So, like, what about countries that have like months of sunlight? Way back in the north.
Yeah, they don't give a shit. But Portugal, and that was their argument. That think of the children, the poor children. I don't really. I'm not trying to defend it. To me, it makes no sense either. Daylight savings time is an archaic thing so that farmers could wake up and have more daylight to farm. But
they wake up with the sun anyway. They don't care about the time. I don't get that argument either. Is it because other people expect like to buy from them at a certain time or something?
I don't know, man. Listen. I don't know.
Dude, all the farmers I've worked on farms. All the farmers I know, they just wake up with the sunlight. They don't give a fuck about the time. Like, oh, time change. I cannot wake up with the sun anymore. Gotta wake up an hour later. That's how the world works. It doesn't. They literally live with the sun. Anyway, so the other thing is although it's not conclusive, there are really no studies that show any benefit to the daylight savings time now, and there are some studies that kind of suspect that it does more harm than good. And especially when we introduce daylight savings, which is in the summer, when you lose an hour. Mm-hmm. And that's when people lose an hour of sleep. And lack of sleep is really, really bad for people, apparently, who knew. Like, no matter how much of a champ you are, like, yeah, I only sleep 5 hours a day, and I work 27 hours a day. I know the math checks out. Check it out if you don't believe me. It's true. But the studies show that, I don't want to quote an inaccurate number, but so like in companies that have accidents, they record accidents over 1 year. Yeah, and then in that year, like 20% of the accidents that happen in all of the year happen on the day after the daylight savings change, something like that. And I hope I'm not quoting like a wrong number. I think it was fairly large. I don't know if it was 20%. But anyway, just check it yourself. Maybe it's like 10, and I'm lying. Maybe it's 3%. It's not 3%. It's more than 3, okay? I think it's like 20. And so doesn't that show you that, messing up with people's sleeping schedules is fucked up, even if it is 1 day? Oh, it's okay. It's just 1 day. And a lot more accidents happen on the roads during that time. Again, I don't want to quote like a wrong
statistic
percentage here. Yeah. And also, how would that affect creativity? People who are haven't slept enough.
A bit of overreach, but you went there. You got there. We got there in the end. Well done.
Nice segue. Yeah. So what about artists? Poor artists who woke up and they're in a bad mood, and like Seth, wakes up and he wants to make like a beautiful piece of art with a beautiful monster, like having a great time in his board game, and then he's in a bad mood. He did this shit little prick that hates everyone, and then it ruins everyone's mood, doesn't it? Like,
that goes back to that's an interesting conversation that goes back into the motivation of drawing. Yeah, all those little micro behaviors does affect like your. Like sometimes you plan the day before. Okay, tomorrow I have to do a drawing. I'm gonna wake up early in the morning to like maximize my daytime, and I'm gonna try and get that squid monster going so that I can use it on a board game. And then when the day comes and you just woke up with a sour mood, or like you didn't change the clocks, therefore you woke up and it's too dark out or whatever, you reach this point where it does sour your motivation to start drawing. But would that be enough for me to not draw? Probably. Like, the motivation is very important. If you mess that up with any artist, and you're, yeah.
I mean, it depends on the person. Some people have the discipline to keep drawing, and I mean, we talked to a large extent on discipline, but still, it's not going to be a good day for you. You're going to have a terrible time, and I mean, your work will reflect it.
Yeah, of course. It's like an athlete. If you don't have a good night's sleep, like, your performance on the pitch, on the sport, will be impacted by it.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt. Oh, dude, you talk about that. There was this summer I went to a beach volleyball tournament. Like, I guess the only one I ever went to. But the idea was such a shitty idea, and I thought it was a bad idea, but I tried it anyway. But it is such a bad idea. It's like, it's a 24-hour marathon. So there are games happening for 24 hours, okay? Mm-hmm. And so it depends how you're matched, but in our case, we arrived around, I think 5 or 6 p.m. We played games, and we finished up at 5 a.m., okay? And we went to bed, and then woke up at 8 a.m. to play at 9 a.m. again. I mean, this is fucked up, okay? I was dead on the court.
Go again? Tell me the time schedules.
Yeah, 6 p.m. we began playing, about 6 p.m.
Relatively
finished at 5 a.m., went to bed, woke up 3 hours later at 8 a.m.
You played volleyball till 5 a.m.
Yeah, it's messed up, right? And I knew it was a bad idea, because I like my sleep, man. And the next day we slept like 3 hours, woke up playing again at 9 a.m. and we finished like 12 or something. And that day was so bad for me. I was in such a bad mood. I played so poorly, and then for the next week I was messed up because of that lack of sleep. And I don't know what the idea was of that. Like, my partner, she said, "Oh yeah, I've played a tournament like that before, a marathon in Italy." Like, did Italians make this up? If you're an Italian and you made this up, I blame you. Okay.
It's so that they have more time to make the cheese, the pasta primavera.
I don't know, man. It was a terrible. I don't actually get the point of that. Like, any athlete should have sleep. Any artist should have sleep. Actually, everyone should sleep. Huh? I'm not discriminating against anyone here. But if you want to be productive, or if you want to be creative, there's another. What's his name? Cleaster. I never remember his last name. Is it Cleese?
John Cleese. I think you're talking about John Cleese, right? If you're going to talk about the creativity thing.
Yeah. Creativity versus productivity. Anyway, if you want either of them or both of them, you need rest, man. Your brain does a lot of stuff when you rest, and some people don't believe in it. I know, like, people like, "Oh no, I'm gonna," as you were saying, like, "I'm gonna wake up an hour earlier so I have an extra hour in a day and I can do stuff." No, dude, a lot of the productive things you do or creative things that you do are in your sleep. Otherwise, your brain cannot function properly. That's when you consolidate information. That's when you get and also, like, some people, they're, all these biphasic sleeping, whatever it's called, biphasic, I don't know what you call it, how do you pronounce it?
I think they're called bisexuals.
Bisexual sleep, yeah, something like that. And by gender, by unicorn. And
don't you start with that. That's a dangerous ground you're treading there, mister.
But, okay, so sleeping, there are people who sleep fewer hours, and they say, okay, it's enough for your brain to do its thing, and if you train it to do it, then it can do it, like, I don't know, in the military or whatever. And it must be said that people are different, and people require different amounts of sleep, to a certain degree. But then some people push it. And one thing which people ignore is that it's not only your brain that needs recovery at the night, it's also your body. And I notice this very often, like, if I don't have a proper night's sleep and I have like a small, like, not a wound, but a scratch, on my skin, and if I don't sleep enough, it's gonna be inflamed. Like, it's gonna be inflamed.
That is interesting.
What's the word? Because your body doesn't have enough time to do the things it needs to do when you have a full night's sleep. And then I have, like, I don't know, my finger hurts or whatever, my toe hurts, whatever, I injured slightly. So you need enough hours of sleep for your body to function properly. And it's okay from time to time if you don't get enough, but as a lifestyle, it's not good for you, buddy. Maybe if you have those depressing moments and you think like, maybe it's just because of lack of sleep, you just gotta get enough sleep.
Maybe that does the trick.
I mean, it really does. I mean, sleep is so good. I love it, and people underestimate it. It's like if someone asked me on my deathbed, what do you wish you did more in your life? Sleep, just sleep.
Well, probably. It always feels like, because as an artist, it always happens that when you go to sleep is also the exact time to the dot where your brain starts going like, hey, I think about this crazy awesome idea. Wouldn't it be great if you now got out of bed and started working on it, because it's so fresh in your mind? Because you always want to work when the idea is fresh in your mind, right? And
Yeah.
and then and because you're in that state of uncertainty where, should I get out of bed and lose sleep so that I can chase this dream, or should I just try and remember it tomorrow? Like that is important for you to have like a little notepad next to bed. Like each time you have a good idea, or even just write it down on your cell phone, so that in the following morning you'll you won't forget about it, or maybe you can grab that inspiration again.
I like that, and I have done that. And then the next day, usually I look it up, and it's utter
Garbage.
nonsense.
Yeah,
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 it's
yeah.
utter
It's
nonsense.
completely useless. And to be honest, you should be embarrassed of even thinking about it. But
No, but sometimes, like I try to record a dream, but if you're in a dream state, it just doesn't work because the things you write, they make sense. Yeah, man.
I wasn't talking
Yo,
about
yo.
a dream state, but like
Huh?
lucid dreaming. You're doing
Not
like a
lucid
dream
dreaming,
journal.
but like you wake up in the middle of the night for a wee, and it interrupted a dream, and like, oh man, this is such a good story. I need to write it down, and I did. And then next day I read it, and I'm like,
Oh
what is this
no,
shit?
I'm
What is
illi-
this
I'm
nonsense?
borderline illiterate.
Yeah, that was utter nonsense. And I mean, that was on the phone. Before that, I had actually written on a notebook, but I was with my eyes half closed when I did it. And when I woke up, it was just a chicken scratching on a piece of paper. I couldn't read. It was yeah, it was just unusable. But I think it's a good thing to do that. I am curious. Do you? I mean, I don't. But do you exercise some form of what is it called? It's not meditation. What's that word? What people like walk around and then try to be with the environment or whatever. What do you call it? It's something awareness bullshit thing.
I have no idea what you're
What do you call
talking
that?
about, and I'm a bit scared.
No? Ah, God. It's not awareness. Ah, there's a word for it. Present aware. What do you call it? Ah. Anyway, well, it's sort of like I wonder if you take any time of the day or of the week to be away from distractions and focus and
Isn't
just
that
let your thoughts
meditation?
flow. Yeah, there's another word for it, I think. I just forgot what it is. Yeah, but do you ever do something like that?
That is how I treat drawing, to be honest. Like when you're drawing, or when you are, now I don't do that as much because I stream 2,000 hours a week. But like usually when I was playing video games, or when I was drawing, or when I was listening to a podcast, or when I was just like watching football, whatever, those are the times where I just let my brain turn off and just let my batteries recharge, so to say. What I do more now is I read more books on my tablet. So I that is basically the equivalent of that, where you just, I don't know if it's the same thing as like meditating, or letting like the environment wash through me, but it is a moment where I self-reflect more. Like after I'm done reading, I start. Oh, actually, no, that's not true. I know exactly the right moment where I do that is when I'm washing dishes.
Mm.
When I'm at the kitchen, like cleaning shit up, I'm in this state of zen where I'm like just allowing the world around me to wash over me, and let my brain decompress and think over things, and like and just like make strategies of how to, okay, then I'm gonna have to do this drawing for this because it will do that, and that's kind of cool, and maybe I should think about this, and I should write about that. And then that's when I'm doing the dishes or cleaning the house is when I'm most considerate of those things.
Yeah, and a lot of people say like they do that when they shower, right? And some people have a joke
Yeah.
like, oh, "What do I do in the shower? 20% cleaning, 80% thinking."
Yeah.
And I found the word I was looking up. It's mindfulness. That's what I wanted
Oh.
to say, mindfulness. And so you mentioned the cleaning part because it's like a mechanical thing. You don't need to be focused or not as much, right, to do it.
Mhm.
And I think maybe that might help to get the creativity going. Because when you go to sleep, there's little or nothing to do. You're in bed. You're just waiting to fall asleep. So
Mhm.
your thoughts flow through you. That's why you get those ideas. And I think if you take yourself away from distractions, you might induce that same state throughout the day. But it needs to be peaceful enough, right? If you're like in the middle of the road,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be mindful now.
I remember
There are
that
cars buzzing around.
when I was in university, and I used to live quite far away from the university, I did a lot of that while I was walking back and forth. Like just when you're walking, you have this very mindfulness mindset that you're just kind of like thinking about your life and just in general the things that you're going to do, what you want to do, that are interesting for you to do, etc. I did that a lot. I used to walk like an hour to go to school and an hour to come. What the fuck? Why am I not writing? Why am I not drawing a gosh darn thing? There you go. I used to spend a lot of time doing just walking back and forth and using that time to self-improve, to get my my philosophy straight of who I am as a human being.
Did you figure it out?
Yeah, pretty much. I use those times a lot to just say, I shouldn't do that. I should do this. I should think more this way. Those times were really good for you to program yourself into who you wanted to be.
Reevaluating your morals.
Pretty much, yeah. So that also happens when you go to bed, right? As soon as you hit the pill, you start thinking about all the cringe things that you've done in the past. Oh God, I can't believe I did that. I'm such a loser. The thing is, I don't usually apparently at a certain point in my life, I decided not to really dive in on insecurities. Like you can allow a moment of self-pity to hit you, right? You can feel like, oh shit, I really fucked up there. But then I do this. You remember a long time ago when you told me that sometimes you just give yourself like a little pat on the shoulder and said, "Good job."
Yeah.
I do a version of that, which a sound version of that, where I just say, "All right, so get out of it." Like you just okay, you've indulged on this on self-pity or whatever. Now let's focus. And sometimes even just saying, "Dude, because I'm a bit ADHD, not really, but I'm a bit dyslexic. So sometimes my mind just kind of scatters and I have a hard time focusing. And I really need to stand back and think, all right, Sav, you got to focus. And then it helps me just that a little bit, just to give myself a call out.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's good. And some people actually inadvertently program negative emotions into themselves.
Yeah.
They just don't realize if they repeat the same things over and over. I mean, I know I did it until at some point I decided to do the opposite, as you were saying, the pat on the shoulder or some reaffirming words. Like even when you don't feel like you are something, you just reaffirm, well, this is who I am, or this is who I want to be, and this is what I want to,
I remember.
Yeah.
I don't want to call anyone out, but I've watched a lot of people while streaming that quite often have troubles with anxiety, with this sort of depression is a strong word, but it's definitely early stages of depression where they feel like this helplessness or this sort of crushing sensation that, oh dude, I don't know what I'm doing with my life, and to be honest, I'm scared about my future, and I feel like I'm not achieving my potential. I know that I'm better than this, but like all those conversations that I see so often with different nicknames on Twitch chat, and I always feel like because I've never been depressed myself, I'm not in the position to say, dude, just snap out of it. Just talk yourself out of it like I do. But it is like you're saying, and it is like I'm saying, that sometimes you're training your brain to think negatively. And each time, like the next time that you also have that state of anxiety and depression, you go further into it instead of trying to get further out of it. I don't know. Again, I'm not a specialist, so I'm always afraid to give my opinion on the subject. I'll leave it to the actual... Oops, sorry, my microphone kind of fucked. I leave it to the actual professionals, but I always feel like allowing yourself a positive attitude goes a long way into, finding happiness. But I don't know. What do I know?
Well, sometimes we think we are more intelligent than we really are. I mean, we are in some aspects. We can be quite simple and easy to program. Mm-hmm. I mean, just retardedly repeating like good things to yourself instead of the negative things.
Yeah,
and actually suppressing the negative things does make a difference, and you will start believing, you will start feeling it. I mean, there was, I don't know, someone was saying like, well, just try Just stand in the mirror, smile, and say positive things, and like have a straight posture, and you will feel good. You will feel positive. It will be contagious.
Isn't that
like
Jordan
one
Peterson?
thing is kind of.
Isn't that like Jordan Peterson that said that shit?
Did he? I don't know who said it. I just remember it. Maybe he did. I don't know. But I'm sure many people have said it. And it is true. If you try, I mean, I have from my experience, like I was in a foreign country. I was alone. Like, well, not quite alone, but still, like mostly you just rely on yourself. And I mean, obviously, you become very insecure because some things that might not go your way. And you don't really have a safety net there, right? You're in a foreign country. You don't really know many people. Like, what you're gonna do? And that's when I started having like some sort of mantra when I repeated things to myself, like to remind myself who I really think I am, despite of how I feel right now. And that came a long way. That came a long way because it's not that that's who I am. That's how I feel now. And I would say I did feel depressed, but that's not how I feel all the time. And you gotta remind yourself, you gotta have something. If nobody else does it for you, you have to, if you want to have a healthy mindset.
Yeah.
And I know it was a big change for me, but there is a trigger. People who are depressed, I think, there has to be a click. There has to be some reason for them to want to change. It has to come from within, no matter how much you try to help them, no matter what you say. Unless what you can do is like get them out of their comfort zone, put them in different environments, and that's important. Like if you're in the same environment, it's not good for you because some things are a problem of your own self, and some things are a problem of your environment. But you don't really get to know this until you leave the environment and are able to realize that, okay, well, I changed the environment, but this did not change. Okay, it's me. I changed the environment. Oh, this did change. That's not about me. So the only thing you can do to help someone, if someone you think is depressed, is to get them out of their comfort zone and change the environment. But the will to change has to come from within.
Yeah, I think so as well. But again, there's David on YouTube saying, I've been doing exactly that and changed my life so much in the last few years, but I still can get really sad. And that's the okay part that I wanted to reiterate, because we keep saying this, and people might take the wrong conclusion that if you're sad, if you're depressed, dude, just snap out of it. Be a man, dude. That's what men do. No, it is okay to allow yourself a moment to acknowledge how shit you feel. Like it is valid. But what I'm trying to, at least what I feel like me and Jay are trying to say, is it goes a long way into giving yourself baby steps to get out of that, than to delve deeper in it. It seems silly, and I remember speaking on Twitter, not on Twitter, on Discord with someone who said exactly that I've tried that and always just felt stupid, just saying, okay, me, let's try and be happy now, and obviously you're that. It sounds stupid, but it's something that you have to keep saying, keep reiterating, try and like to give your brain a call out. But no, just to keep finishing reading what David wrote. I try to get out of my comfort zone more often now. That is also a really good idea. Yeah, exactly like you were suggesting, Jay. I'll make a brief intermission now just to say, so, looking at this drawing, do you think like anything's changed?
Oh yeah, it's smoother on the bottom, that's for sure. I haven't been paying too much attention to you drawing. It's kind of in the background of my mind.
Good,
but yeah, I see the bottom is kind of smoother.
Yeah, because this is all the changes I made so far, and then this is how it was before. So you realize that how it was before, suddenly, like this shape now, I don't know, I'm going to say this, but I'm not sure if you're going to feel it, but I do. This shape now feels like it's way more prevalent, right? Now you're looking at how much is missing there, right? And
yeah. Well, now that you, of course, like especially when you put the big red circle around it.
Okay, if I just remove it though,
it looks smoother. It looks smoother. Yeah, like there's no. Yeah.
Also, I like making a little friend over here. He has a little serpent boy, a little serpent nugget going like meh, meh. So yeah, these little changes, I like it a lot.
Okay, you have a board game. Would you give a name to your creatures and things, or you would just
Oh,
let people name them whatever they want?
no, definitely. The thing has a name. We need to
What
think
is
of.
it called?
I don't know. I call it. Let me see.
Still don't know how you see a monster here. I see like a machine thing with random, I would call them wood branches, not even tentacles.
I call it a sewer horror.
Sewer horror.
That's
Okay,
the name
sure,
I gave
can
the
see.
file. It was just like I needed to name it something so I wouldn't forget, so I just call it a sewer horror. Okay,
Right.
so you don't see a monster here yet. Therefore, I think I need to fix his little head shape.
Yeah, like the head. I don't see that as a head. I mean, I can tell this the spherical thing. Okay, it kind of looks like a head, but the front of it, or maybe that's the back. Maybe it's ass. It's the monster's ass, and we're looking at the back of it. I don't know. It doesn't look very alive.
It just looks like a big pillar. I mean, that's kind of the interesting
That looks
part
like
as
a
well.
lamp. It's just a lamp, man. It's a,
The attack of the killer lambs. Yeah,
it's
this.
a head-shaped lamp.
Okay, so I have to make this more monstrous. All right, I think I can do that. I think it's easy. I
Well,
think
not monstrous. I think alive is the right word.
to be honest,
That's
I
what
think
it's lacking.
all I need to do is basically just give it like a row of teeth, and
Yeah,
that,
maybe. But I
that
mean,
will
do
instantly.
those? Do you think what is that thing around the sphere of light? This is just rocks engraved in it. I don't see it as anything
This here?
alive.
I call it like
No, on top.
these little things, or even further
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, those little things.
I just think these are like barnacles or something. Like, have you seen like
Barnacles,
a giant whale that has like a bunch of barnacles attached to it?
No, I haven't, but I see what you mean, and now I'm hungry. This is a hunger monster. Let's call it a hunger monster. Can we call it
Looks
a hunger
shapeless.
monster?
Yeah, a hunger monster. That's way too vague. We need to call it something a little bit more cooler. Like I called it a sewer horror, but it was just like like a little what do they call it? Like a placemaker name. So we can replace it with
Placemaker.
something else. Yeah, it's not a placemaker. What's it called? When you give
Placeholder?
placeholder name. Yes, there you go.
Uh,
And David does agree that he looks like. Sorry,
what?
David, you're killing me. He says he looks a little bit shapeless. So I want to try and give him a little bit more. All right, the next point I'm going to be trying to fix, and then it's going to be his face. So, do you want to talk more about that? I like that conversation on depression because I don't know, man. I
Mental
feel
health.
like
Let's call it mental health.
mental health, yeah, because I am a big proponent of like of being open with it, of always being, don't be afraid. Like so often it happens a lot as well when someone is like feeling down that they are afraid to speak up. Like, I don't want to burden you with my problems. I'm a big proponent of, no, it's fine, you can say it. Oh, but I've said it so many times. No, say it one more time. Like, there's only one way for you to get out of that rut, is if you keep being honest with your emotions and work your way out of them. So yeah, mental health is hugely important.
I think to add on to that, I don't even know. I'm sure different people get it from different places, but at least me as growing up, I did feel like, oh, feeling sad or whatever, or as a man crying, or those things are bad things that shouldn't happen, and then you kind of repress and suppress it, whichever way you wanna, if it's not clear, suppressing is like consciously ignoring it, and repressing is unconsciously ignoring it. And yeah, I mean, I think we get this influence, but feeling sad is not is actually a healthy thing. I mean, life is ups and downs, right? And you have to go through them. It's a healthy thing. You can't always be going up, up, up. Where are you gonna end up if it always goes up? Because if you're in the same spot and does like your mood doesn't change, you're just stale, and then you're just a walking I don't know, a zombie. You just have no emotions, right? And if it's going up all the time, all the way up, what's going to happen? I mean, what's the climax? It doesn't reach it. There is no climax. That's why we have the word climax. It's you reach the peak and then you go down, and sometimes you go further down below, and that's normal. I mean, now when I have depressing moments, I use it as as a moment to like get away from people, from things, and that's okay, and just reflect, and that's fine. That's a healthy moment. Maybe that's what that's what your nature is telling you to do. Like, you just need to get away from people and need to reevaluate certain things because you've been going at it. You have routines, like we all have routines, just every day, all day, same thing over and over again, and you just gotta reflect upon it. What has happened? Does anything change? Do I like what's happening? Am I happy with this? Do I want to continue this? What do I want to do? That's the moments when you are depressed, you can reflect upon things. And it's okay to be sad. It's not okay. I think it's a healthy thing. You gotta go down there to go back up. And so it's just how we perceive things and we portray things. And obviously there's some people who lived like tragedies in their life, right? And I cannot comment on that. That's something different, and maybe you do need some help. But generally,
some
day-to-day
hardcore
life,
shit. Trauma is different. Ignore us.
Yeah, that's.
You're not telling you to just shrug off and walk off of child abuse.
Yeah, but day-to-day, like depression and feeling sad and all this, and just not feeling good, or you had a bad day, or someone like berated you, and then it like fucked up your day. Like for me, I have construction noise over the more than 1 year in my building now, and it really fucks me up because I don't get enough sleep. And I cannot repeat this enough. Like, do get some sleep. Like, the moments I feel the worst are when I'm sleep deprived. That's when I'm like at my worst. Like, I'm not a good person. I don't like myself. I don't like other people. I just hate everything. Just let me sleep. Okay, sleep. Just really sleep and eat. Like, if you're hungry, eat. Don't.
But what about people that have insomnia? How do they get a snap out of it?
Oh well, yeah, I cannot stop.
You're fucked.
We're gonna start another podcast about that. You gotta seek the answer to that somewhere else. Or maybe there is no answer. Maybe use those moments to not sleep and do whatever. I don't know. I don't know how insomnia works, so I can't make any comments on that. I have had days that I'm sleepless. I don't think that's insomnia. And again, I think it's kind of the same thing. You don't take yourself out of a certain. Don't take time for yourself to reflect. Maybe that's why you can't sleep, because you just can't calm down because you haven't thought things through. You're not able to go back to your the water level. I don't know what you want to call it. The level of the middle point. Not happy, not sad, not nothing. Just you gotta return there. Pull back, reevaluate, reassess.
What time?
And then start over.
What time are we in? Oh fuck! It's almost noon actually. I've been spending a lot of time with this boy, and
Sev's gotta go.
Maybe not gotta go just yet, but oh god, but we really don't have enough time to delve into another new topic.
See, daylight savings fucked us up.
Actually, I think it was more
No, in this case, it would have been 1 o'clock already.
Yeah. Well, see, does he look more like a monster now? Or friend Jimmy?
Yeah, I still like the part where the face is supposed to be on the spherical thing is still not. It doesn't look right to me. But I see you have like sort of a mouth kind of thingy. Yeah, it's more. I can see it more now.
Okay, we're making progress. I want to see if I could finish this work.
I just don't like the front part of the spherical thing. It doesn't look very alive.
Sorry, what do you mean by front part? You mean like
yeah, the light thing, like, and the barnacles. Yeah, that's just doesn't look right.
Doesn't look
just
very
doesn't
right.
look.
Just needs
it
like
just looks like a bunch
big
of
eyeball.
rocks. Yeah, a bunch of rocks with a hole in the middle.
There's a big eyeball over there, big human eye. Does that work?
Oh, there you go. Yes, it definitely does. Especially when it's red. It's like, yeah, that's it. Done. That's all it needed.
Damn it!
Can you make it cute as well though? Just so to
you
throw
want me
people
to-
off.
Do you want it
To throw people
to
off.
blush?
To throw people off. I love it. I love it.
Oh, senpai. Oh, when the adventurers in the sewer notice me. Oh.
Dude, this is genius. Look what you have done. I
Oh.
love this.
Actually, like how do oh god, this is the point where I wish I watched more anime, because they have so many shorthands for making cute anime shit. I think one of them is just making the eye sort of like this, like
Okay.
like making a perfect sphere, but then erasing like just the very top of it,
So it looks like a weird heart that's not shaped like a heart.
and then a little bit on the like something like that. I don't know, man. I wish I saw and practiced more anime shit. And actually,
Yeah,
no,
but
no, I don't.
it looks kind of like a heart thing, but it's not shaped like a heart.
Oh,
Oh, you
senpai.
can do like the Rick and Morty eyes, which is like
just a little
smudge,
weird
a smudge.
smudge.
Yeah.
It does look.
I love it. Well,
That does look like
let's call this a love horror.
Going back to David, lol guys. My father spent a lot of time drawing and painting. Am I your father, David?
Oh.
Anyways,
Hmm.
that's. I think
I
I'm going to
was
be
never a good drawer, so I never got into it, so I cannot participate on a professional level.
It doesn't matter. There is no such thing as professional drawer.
Yeah, Sev wishes he was paid for this.
Yeah. I do get paid for my drawings, but
Not for this.
for this,
you?
no. I get
No.
paid for drawing people.
No.
Ugh.
He wishes he was paid to draw horrors.
Pretty much. Hey, some would say that the people I draw are pretty horrific.
Oh, snap.
Not really.
Way to glue that.
Not really. There you go. I like his little open mouth. I like his little teeth Z's.
Talking about the paint, getting paid for it. I mean, I've just been trying to think. You know, one thing Elon Musk said at some point. Well, he said many things, but and he's a maniac. Okay, Elon Musk is a maniac. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say I admire some parts of it. I would never want to be him. Okay, that guy has no life. But well, there are a few things that he said. One is like the Tesla versus Edison comparison. If you're not familiar, Edison, the guy who supposedly invented the light bulb, but blah blah blah, electricity. Tesla did the what is it? The alternate current, so the one that we use pretty much every day, and Edison was a proponent for the continuous current, and yada yada yada. Edison versus Tesla. But anyway, and so Tesla was a big dude. He was like he invented many things we use today, and Elon Musk was saying like, yeah, he's a big admirer of Tesla, but he's more of an admirer of Edison because while Tesla, you know, maybe allowed us to have the alternate current or whatever and lamps, but Edison was the guy who knew how to bring it to the people, to market it to, you know. And another thing in relation to this that Elon Musk says is like, look, I am an engineer at my core. I'm paraphrasing here. But what I realize is that in order to do what I want to do as an engineer is I need to know how to sell myself, how to sell the product. And that's something I've been thinking about a lot. It's like because look, the truth is there's like a bunch of actors and a bunch of singers and dancers and all of this, and they don't really have much of a leg up on you. Like honestly, what they do is they have dedicated a lot of time into what they're doing. And that's a fact. But all this like talent, it's kind of relative. Yes, you do have some, you know, you might have what's the word? Not tendency, but what's the word I'm looking for, Sev? Come on. Yeah, that's something like that. Yeah. Predisposition or whatever for a certain thing. Like maybe if it's physical athlete, maybe your body's shaped in a certain way that allows you to run faster or whatever, swim farther, you know, something like that.
Yeah.
But generally, it's a lot of what you do and not as who you are. But the luck factor is a big factor, the random genetic factor. So anyway, all this rant about art, so for example. So I may be mistaken here. You who, as an artist, I'd like to get your input here. But it seems to me that art is generally not really valued unless it is kind of it observes economy of scale, which is when Sev makes one painting, and then instead of selling it to one person, you just copy it over multiple of times, say Magic the Gathering cards, and then you sell a bunch of Magic cards, or you know, you just scale up the economy. And the price of your painting is actually cheapened a lot, but it's multiplied to a certain amount combined with another product, and then you can get revenue.
Basically,
but maybe the people who make the cards. Yeah, but the people who paid for your art paid you a certain price, but that's not where the income is from. It's from the actual, you know, multiplication of this product throughout and multiplied by several people, because we have like a huge population or whatever you want to argue. But anyway, so I wonder what you think as in terms of value of art in general, how you perceive it, and what you think about what I just said. Did I put you on the spot? Because I cannot hear you.
Oh. No. I'm thinking because I'm going to use another football comparison. Most football players don't make enough money to pay rent. Most football players don't make money. Like if you think about the whole universe, like the amount of people that play football, even professionally, like they're in like a second, third, fourth division. They play football and they have a second job, and most of them barely make enough money to pay for food at the end of the month. But when you think about football players, you think about that 1% top uber elite that make bajillions. Their net worth is equivalent to some small countries. And that perception makes it seem like that football players are overpaid for doing basically nothing. They have no value to society. And to a certain extent that is true. That is basically just what the public has deemed them worthy. And so what I'm trying to say is it's not that they are talented, but their talent is exponentially overvalued because it is what the audience values them at. Because football is this world industry that is very entertaining. People pay money to have the kits, the sponsors, the branding of the player, the social feeds, everything. They just want to follow the player, they want to follow the club, and they are willing to put money on it. And therefore, there's a lot of the sports is very top heavy. And we can say exactly the same thing with art. Art is very top heavy. 99.9% of artists barely make enough money to survive basically on their art, unless they make a lot of it, unless they make a lot of sacrifices for it, or unless they're very, very good at it. So if they're very, very good, even then they need to have this sort of infrastructure, which is in using the analogy, they need to have like some sort of soccer club that they're associated with, or they need to have the patronage of the people so that they can have, so that they have a lot of clients, or they have a lot of like projects that are worldwide. An example of that would be like Cedric Pay Revenue. Apparently he did Disco Elysium. So you recognize him as the guy who did Disco Elysium. And like, oh, I love his art because I saw it somewhere else. But he's a very good artist by himself. So what happens is, it was like you're saying, there's synergy that prompts you up as being a good artist, or there is just you have a lot of clients, therefore you're out there. But to be honest, most of like why art can be so, like an art piece can go for millions, and it's basically just imagine this a painting that is a red dot in the middle of a white canvas, and you can say something like, this represents the vicissitude of man and it's worth 8 million. And that's the sort, and that exists a lot in the world of art, which is basically just money laundering via art. That art is the first NFT. Art was the first NFT, where people just try and make bullshit excuses to have a reason to put a lot of money onto a property, like, and have that net worth maintained on that property. So basically, if you have $1 million, but you don't want to start in a bank, or you don't want to, or that you just want to launder the money, like million drug money, you buy art because the art will retain its value. Even in fact, it will probably increase in value. So it's a good trade for investment. So that's where art gets really weird, and it loses its artistic meaning, its artistic value. And it's the same thing with football players, I suppose. Sometimes the shades are so shady.
I never even thought that maybe the exorbitant prices for art are just money laundering. Why does no one ever mention that?
Oh, they do.
I've been living in a bubble. I've never heard this.
No, it happens quite often with I'm not gonna say not just like drug cartels, but a lot of rich people love buying art. Like there's a reason why rich people immediately go into this I'm missing all the words in English. Make these they buy these ateliers where
what the fuck is that?
It's basically an art shop, like their own private museum, right?
Yeah.
And they make their own private museum because A, people will pay to go see it, so they get money back, and B, because if you spent $1 million on a painting, the painting is still worth $1 million. Therefore, you're just getting rid of like dirty money to have something that is as valuable or will be more valuable with time, and you just put it on display. Like, it's genius. Art can be seen as a currency, and that happens a lot in Russian oligarchs, in a lot of art dealings, the art world, etc.
I still don't quite follow money laundering, but I thought like what happens is, okay, let's say Sev is a drug dealing mob lord, okay?
Exactly.
And he got a lot of money from drugs, and now he wants to
make that money usable.
Yeah. So what he does is he sets up a studio under my name, Jay, and Jay has a studio.
I don't even need to set up the studio. I just need to buy art.
No, but that's what I think. This is my understanding of money laundering. Maybe that's why I don't understand how you make, because if you buy art, you need to prove where your funds came from. So that's where money laundering comes in. What you want to do is, so you set up a thing under my name, right? And then, is that how it works? I have no idea.
I mean, it is. It can be, but I think art is kind of like a cheat code for it, because sometimes you make like a shell company or whatever and have that company not be associated with you. It's in someone else's name, but it's basically yours, and use that company to buy something that you own, and therefore the money that you're yeah. But
you
however,
want to do your own thing by paying taxes on it, something like that.
Yeah, pretty much. But the art kind of works the same way, where you can just give money to the artist, and you're paying it. And you're getting art in return. Of course, probably, you probably need to have like some sort of shell company to do the purchases, but it is pretty much, it is basically what I'm trying to say is sometimes with art, drug dealers and all that sort of thing, they have a lot of money, and they can't just spend 8 million on a new car, because the IRS will look into that. Like, why did you waste 8 million on a car? That seems a bit weird. That activates.
No, where did you get the money from? That's the question.
No, they might actually just wonder, like, that seems like an overinvestment. That happens a lot when, like, what happens is, and this happened, I saw a lot in Malta, where you spend a lot of money to buy a mansion. I'm going to build a mansion in Malta. But then there's only one guy working there a day instead of a whole team of construction workers. Then the materials are super cheap. But then if you look at the revenue, it says, oh, you spent 8 million on this mansion, but I only see like $50 worth of material here. How do you explain that? The IRS will look into it. Whereas art, if you say, I bought this painting because I think it is worth 8 million, IRS is like, well, if you say so. I guess it's subjective.
Well, I would like to understand more of this to make an argument here. I know, like, I was trying to understand how it works in Portugal, and I know there's they call it, what do they call it? It's like manifestation of fortune is what they call it, something like that. And wait, let me just Google it. So I think, like, if you buy a real estate in a value in excess of, I think it's like 250,000 or $500,000 or something, then it's 250,000. If you buy property in excess of 250,000, they're gonna look into your accounting, and if it's wrong, then you're gonna have a problem. So that's like, if you use dirty money to buy a property with that value, you're gonna get caught. So I don't know how it works for other things. But it has, for example, in Portugal, again, cars, so, like, I don't know what you call them in English, the normal cars, normal size cars, if it's over 50,000 euro, or motorcycles with over 10,000 euro, they're going to look into it or something. Boats in over 25,000, and, all this bullshit. So they have specific criteria under which they will check to see if, if there's any money laundering or stuff like that, or if there is any money you have that you didn't declare, and then they're gonna slam on you. Why are we talking about this?
Because art as a money laundering scheme, basically.
Right. So exactly. So if you were to buy a piece of art that is worth a lot of money, I don't know, like, at which point they would investigate you, but I'm sure they still would. But the money laundering part is when you sell art and you buy it yourself, and then you pay taxes on it. I think that's how money laundering works. Like, I have 5 million euro. I want to launder it. So I set up a fake company that sells this sewer horror, and then I myself buy it, but then the seller will pay taxes on it, which is you, because I set up a company in your name, and I get the money back through indirect channels. And I think that's how money laundering works. And now I pay taxes on that money by circulating it through my own channels, right? I got it back to myself.
Yeah.
I think so. I don't quite understand how buying a piece of art allows you to launder money. What you can do is, like, if you buy a piece of art, let's say for 50 euro, I buy this piece you just made today for 50 euro, and then later I sell it for, I don't know, 3 million. That's a way to kind of, well, I don't know if that's laundering money. It's a way to prove that you earned money from a certain source, and you can declare it as tax. You pay taxes on it. Anyway,
pretty much, I suppose.
How do we get?
We're talking about the value of money and the value of art.
By the way,
guys.
By the way, guys, if you want to launder your money, Sev is open for business. Okay, guys, just so you know, if you want, he'll make some art. He has a lot of horrors.
Well, not
In the
yet,
works.
but I will. Yeah, exactly.
In the works. Yeah.
And I think this is the time where we're going to start thinking about calling it quits. I'm having a hard time with the pupil. I don't think I know how to draw pupils, to be honest. Eyes are weird, man.
How about you imagine a tiny person who's a student and you draw that instead and you call that a pupil? And this is the master. Would that work? A pupil instead of a pupil? Is this too far-fetched? Is it too messed up? Okay, guys. How do we do the outro again?
I never know, man. Who knows?
Dude, I can't do it without the piece of info in front of me.
Yeah, I know.
I'm so bad at it. I'm so...
It was like, thank you for watching or listening.
No, which way do we start with? Do we start with the names, or I'm gonna check it out? Wait,
I don't think we start with the names. I think we start with the plugs.
By the way, I don't know. You thought these podcasts, these recordings have been very willy-nilly, but we actually prepared a lot of stuff to do this. I don't know, it would be interesting to have a podcast about the work that's put into this, or was put the work before the podcast even began, right? Because it took us like a year to
pretty much.
We talked about this to an extent, but we never showed it.
I was something that it would probably not meant to be online, but I'm going to do it anyway. My brother wants to be on the next podcast, who is a former artist. Artist. He's not a professional
That's an interesting conversation.
But he is. Well, I guess he hasn't drawn in a million years, but he used to be a really, really good artist. And I think we have conversations that we can have because I've did it before on Twitch, but there is a series of comic books called Black Sad, which is it's a beautifully drawn comic book by a dude, I don't remember the name, but it's about this cat detective. It's a black and white cat detective, and it's very noir, and it's kind of actually pretty mature considering it's furry. It's like Zootopia meets Sin City, and it's a gorgeous comic book. And the funny thing is, the reason why me and my brother know about this comic book is because he, like back in the 90s, he made art that is an exact copy of this comic book before this comic book existed. So
they
basically,
made a copy of his art.
Basically, he made a black and white cat with a trench coat who was a cat detective, basically. And he was pretty good at it. And the style, I kid you not, is fucking uncanny. Like, then we found this comic book and it's exactly the same fucking concept. Black and white. No, I don't think they plagiarized them. I really doubt that they plagiarized them. I'm not exactly sure who came first, to be honest, because
just great minds think alike. This has happened in science. There are people who do the same kind of studies in different countries, completely unrelated. They don't even know about each other. This has been recorded. Anyway, but it would be an interesting conversation, at least for me, to know. Like you say, he was an artist, so there's a conversation there. That's interesting.
Yeah, so I'll definitely the next time we do the recording, we'll probably have my brother around to give me some of his brotherly insights.
Okay, and also some people have been like, "Oh, Jay, you gotta get a webcam." And okay, there's been one person badgering me about it. Okay, maybe I should, but come on, how often am I gonna use it? It's like once every 2 months. And
every single podcast.
The problem is this is my personality. Like, if I'm gonna buy something, I'm gonna research it, and I just don't want to spend time looking at webcams right now. Like, if you have a webcam that's like, this is good, this works, and I don't even know, I need to know how do I connect it? Do I need the USB? Is there any other options? What do I want? And like, what resolution do I want? Oh, well, I want 180p. I know that. And all these questions, I need to research this. I just don't want to do this. I don't mind buying a webcam. I just don't want to do all the work associated with it.
Just stop.
What do you mean? I'm serious.
I know you are, but that is neurotic. You know that voice we're talking about when we get anxious or anxiety and say, "Okay, you need to snap out of this." I'm being that voice now. Is it Jay? Okay. Just buy a fucking $5 webcam. It's
$5 webcam? No way. I'm not doing that. But anyway, I am Jay.
I'm Sev.
Artistry Podcast.
Signing off.
Perfect. I think it was a perfect outro.
Best one yet. I think so too. I'm happy with this horror monster. There are still 2 areas where I'm probably going to keep drawing, which is this area. Fuck me. Which is going to be this area here and this area here. And you say you don't like the eye, but I kind of like it how it is. I can't draw fucking pupil. But I'm
don't draw pupil. Just do something. Give it an eyebrow, maybe. Or I don't know.
Get him a VTuber avatar. No, David is onto something. Like, I'm just going to put you as a VTuber. as a
I don't know what
furry.
that is. I don't know. Virtual to YouTuber, is that what it is?
Pretty much. It's
Okay.
basically like instead of having your webcam, they have this program that recognizes your facial features, and
Why don't I do that?
what?
I still need a webcam. Fuck.
Yeah, the webcam instead of showing you, it just looks at your facial features and puts them on like on a 3D avatar, often of a little cat girl.
So this is like deepfake. I'm just gonna put my face on a Safe's face. Deepfake Sev.
A different Sev.
That's gonna be awesome. That would be the evil twin Sev.
Oh, that would be great. I wish I could monetize Evil Twin Sev. I saw some funny ones, and they says David. As David says, I saw some funny ones, and they are even not anime, just random animals or robots. Yeah.
Oh man. Anyway, okay, we already signed off. I'm gonna actually sign off. It was a good
Same.
one. I'll see you next time.
I'll see you next time, dude. Nice talking to you.
You too.
Bye bye. And now it's just me alone. Eventually. No, Jay is still here. He's still here. I can see him. I'm disconnecting from the call. There you go. So, now that it's just me and you, David. Me and you forever. I actually... Oh, God. Am I gonna... I don't think I'm... NFT progress looking good. NFT. Thank you. I don't think I kind of like it having like this blank eye, to be honest. I do like it. Like, I think if I put any sort of pupil on it, it's going to look worse than what it looks right now. However, an open mouth does a lot to giving it a face. The tentacles look very tentacly. What I don't like is just these pipes, that they look a bit too computer generated. So what I'm going to do is... God, my setup is a bit archaic. I'm going to copy paste this area because this is actually pretty nice. And you're going to go all the way over there. That's lovely, dear. And with that over there, you're also going to blend in a little bit better. There you go. Is that... Oh, that blends in a bit too much. I want... Like so. Yeah, I just realized each time I don't have someone to talk to, my art podcast, my art streams immediately become just silence, me looking at an art stream. I really need to develop a skill where I'm speaking while doing art. I need to. I'm not happy with this. I'm going to leave it like so for now. Let's try and get this shit looking sexy AF. Make it a little bit bigger. How large is the final version going to be? Keep the silhouettes and don't add pupils if it's smaller. I mean, the size of this is pretty much going to be slightly bigger than a credit card. What I'm doing here... If I can, there it is. I want to make a series of cards that are similar to... like... to this example here. Basically, I want a playing card that is similar, roughly the size of a credit card, maybe even slightly more elongated, maybe a bit higher, taller, where there's going to be an image, but the image can be like relatively small, like 3 to 4 inches long, and the resolution here is just fine for it. But you know, there's a lot of detail that you can tell even in a small image. Like even the one I was showing you right now of this little zombie monster. Actually, the detail is actually kind of simple. I was gonna say that you could tell if the zombie's eyes had pupils or not, but I guess in that one actually you couldn't. Anyways, I just want to finish this part here. What is this? There you go. And I want to break free. First of all, what is this? Let's first erase the excess. This color here is a bit off. And now let's merge this here a little bit. Oh no, I want to merge it. Blend it in. Blend it in. Oh yes. That's a good blending right there. Actually, I want to keep some of that nice texture. For example, what I'm thinking right now is, that's a good bottom light. The upper layer, I'm going to pick up this bright light and I'm going to make it so this bright light goes like so and follows this shape. And the same thing with this. I like this like little viscous line that just connects like upwards. And suddenly this shape, I feel like, seamlessly connects to the main head. Make it a little bit darker. Like so. Maybe I went a little bit too far here. There you go. That's better. Where was I? Oh, you're still there, Mr. David. So that fixes the connection with the head, which I quite enjoy. I'm also going to do a little bit of this just to separate a bit the shapes. I don't like that this white shape follows the same thing as this shape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add just a little divider there. That's enough to separate the two shapes. Hey, Beavis. And now I need to make it so that this shape goes, that it connects. Let's make it a little bit darker. Kind of like the idea that this pipe basically opens up. David says hi, peeps. She says hi back. I like the idea that this pipe opens up and this one kind of is a like this is an exposed pipe, and this white part here, like the wires that it's covering. Like I said, these monsters are pretty. I like how they look semi like techno organic. I love that sort of design. It's very H.R. Geiger. And I'm all about that shit. The xenomorph design. Now let's give this, I'm going to put it on a new layer. Let's make this shit keep going like so. And now that's starting to look like something a little bit more sinister. What is it? I don't know, but it does feel like it's more interesting looking than what it was before. Which is, let me see, let me unite all this. So before, this seems, it was fine, I suppose. I'll let you be the judge of it, Mr. David. Like, as it was before, this section, somehow it dropped my eyes kept going there, and they went there and I didn't understand, like, because this shape here looks a bit weird, looks a bit too AI generated. Then this one is also like, I don't know, it feels like there's two arrows pointing here, or three arrows pointing into this exact space, and I didn't understand what was going on there. So by doing this, suddenly there's a bit more movement going towards the center of the creature. Like this feels more purposeful that I'm pointing towards the eye. And these lines here, just they disappear more into the texture of the background, I think. I feel like, right? I feel like it does that. What were you saying? I like all the xenomorph lore and designs until I read the background behind it, and it kind of ruined it for me. But all the rape allegory? I'm almost done with this bad boy over here. There's only one last thing I want to do, which is this section here. But I think I'm going to leave that for my own private off-stream things. But I like how it's looking. All right, let's give it a good look at Mr. Skelly Boy, Mr. Sewer Horror. The smaller it gets, the harder to tell out the details. As long as the shape is clear, it will work. Yeah, I think so. I kind of like how it looks. So if I'm going to now remove everything that I've done. This was the before image. The before image is, I mean, it still looks pretty good. Then the after image. Yeah, I think it looks It looks a lot more interesting. It looks a lot more like a monster. So, David, do you want to give it a name? Sewer horror? I like your name, Bogojevic. Bogojevic. The Bogos, the Jevic. What could we call it with that name? What could we call it? The sewer monster. Bogojevic. Jevic is a good name. Jevic. Sewer, horror, Jevic. I'm not sure though. Blight Eater. Ooh. I want to like a more... Blight Eater... I like the idea that it's called a Blight... Okay, so what's the lore here? The Blight Eater is the name that the citizens from the village call it. You know, those little potato farmers scared in the surface, they call this the Blight Eater. Ever so often, you throw just piles of shit and it eats it all up. It is a veritable Blight Eater. We don't think about it, and it doesn't think about us. However, what is its actual name? So this is like the common name. Its actual name should be like... I was going to pick your name up, like... it has to have an apostrophe. Djevic. No, Jevic sounds a bit too Eastern European. Because it ends on a Vic. So... Usually anything that is fantasy has L's in it. So... Dielgovic. Delgovic. We're starting to get somewhere. Try going with more fantastical names. Maybe with an R. R's are always very very powerful sounding. Drell. A Drell. Drellvik. Drellvik. I'm okay with that. A Drellvik. Maybe something a bit more that seems like sewer. Drellwick. Drellwa. Drellwer? Sewer Drellock. You did it. Gosh darn it, you fucking did it. He did it. Everyone stand up and applaud. David, he found the right one. He found the answer. The Blight Eater, also known as the Sewer Drellock. Oh, it's beautiful. We just discovered the Drellock. I'm quite happy with that. Thank you, David. Oh god, that just gives me hype to... I love it. I love it dearly. It's time to save this as the Sewer Drellock. I have to come up with lore for this shit. Drellock with 2 L's. Drellock. Like it will bite your face off. The Drellock will bite your face off. Perfect. Thank you. And with that, I'm going to take my leave. Thank you for watching, Mr. David. It was just a little short cameo today. I don't think you were here when we were talking about it earlier, but unfortunately I have chores to do. Therefore, I'm going to do them. Before Peeps beats the shit out of me. And she can. She's small, but she's feisty. She has fists of fury. The grip of a gorilla. She can tear me to pieces. It's kind of arousing. Ah! She's coming! No! Ah! Ah! Call the police!